Hello, everybody. My microphone just fell off just as I started the show, so let's try it again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra. Extra! Because we are on a Wednesday. Oh, my goodness me. Here we are in the library with the fire on. Derpy is... he's sat on the box here with the records in. But are you coming to join me, Derp, or are you just going to sit there looking at me with... big, soulful saucer eyes? You coming to join me? You coming up? Come on. You know you want to. No, not on the desk. Come on, this way. Come on, you're holding up the ghost stories already. We haven't even started yet. Here he comes. Here he comes. There we are. Right. So you've joined us for the ghost stories. What are we reading tonight, Derpy? We are still reading the excellent Haunted Places of Scotland. Let's just move my legs together. Haunted Places of Scotland, 2nd edition. Exciting stuff. No, don't get up on there. Oh, goodness sake. What do you do on Wednesday night? I watched Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra, but it was all about a confused man from Dudley with his grandstanding cat. Right, what are we drinking tonight? More importantly, we've got one of the subscription beers here, which is Sawmill Blueprint Session IPA. So there we go. That's Blueprint, as you can see. What's the volume of alcohol on this, Derpy? Thank you. It is 4%, so it's no spring chicken. Alpha. This session IPA is only half the story. Compare Alpha with Bravo, same beer style, different hops. And that's from the Elements of Beer hops. So there we go. So that's Sawmill. Oh, there we go. We haven't even started the show. What do you know? We haven't even started the show. And already we have a dead soldier. So run, VT.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Indeed. And what are we washing it down with tonight? Well, this is a break from the normal. I saw this in Lidl, and it's Western Gold spirit drink on whiskey base with 1% honey. So it describes itself as the flavour of Western Gold honey derived from oak barrels and the subtle sweetness of honey that results in a smooth and rich flavour profile one cannot resist. Enjoy straight on the rocks or mixed. Cheers. So it's a kind of an American style whiskey, albeit made in Germany, OVS, but 35%. So we will try this tonight. So we haven't opened it yet. So here we go. Oh, lovely. Does smell like that other one I had. So 15 quid. So we'll either like it or we won't. Right. Derpy, shall we crack on with the ghost stories? And we're up to Finlarrig Castle. In a fabulous location surrounded by hills, Finlarrig Castle is a ruinous and overgrown Z-plan tower house, which stands in an atmospheric wooded location. Nearby is a ruined mausoleum. The castle was built in the 17th century by Sir Duncan Campbell of Glenorchy, known as Black Duncan of the Cowl or Black Duncan of the Castles. Close by the castle is said to be a beheading pit, the story going that nobles were executed in the pit while commoners were hanged from an oak tree. The pit is more likely to be a cistern or even a cesspit, but this does not make such a good story. Apart from this, it does seem unlikely that there were sufficient high-born folk needing their heads snuck off to warrant the digging of such a large pit. The castle is said The castle by some is said to be haunted. At least 2 paranormal investigations have been undertaken at Finlarrig, although there is apparently no story behind the investigations. Access at all reasonable times, view from exterior as dangerously ruined. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in May 2004 by Ghost Finders, website address, and in September 2004 by Spectre, website address. So, right, Derps, let's try this. What's it called again? Blueprint. Blueprint Session Indian Pale Ale. Let's give it a go. So, yet again, in the magnificent Rush beer glass. Thank you, viewers, Kirsten and Steve in the United States. Cheers, me beers. That's quite fruity, actually. Quite like that. Right. Fintry Inn, located in the peaceful and picturesque village in the Strathendrick Valley. The Fintry Inn was established in the middle of the 18th century and is a cosy establishment with an open fire. The inn is said to be haunted by a hazy apparition, although the identity of the ghost is not known. Inn and restaurant, accommodation available, telephone number and website. All right, so a bit more of the old beer derp. Cheers, me beers. Oh, lovely. Now, are we going to try a bit of this scotch? No, I think we'll do one more story, then we'll try the scotch. So, Flaws Castle, said to be the largest inhabited mansion in Scotland. Flaws Castle dates from 1721, which is about 20 past 5, and was originally designed by William Adam for Kerr, 1st Duke of Roxburgh. Flaws is still the home of the Duke and Duchess of Roxburgh. Flaws is still the home of the Duke and Duchess of Roxburgh. There is a walled garden with fine herbaceous borders. There are stories that the house is haunted by the ghost of Margaret Hay, 1st Duchess of Roxburgh, who is said to have disappeared in mysterious circumstances. Ghostly sobbing is reported to have been heard coming from the long gallery, and there were apparently sightings of the ghost as late as the 1950s. A further tale is that the house is haunted by the ghost of a gardener, who is said to be felt rather than seen outside the main entrance. Open Easter to October, telephone number, website. Ghostly gardener. I was doing some gardening today. No, gardening? I wouldn't call it gardening. I was doing some work on the allotment. I'll tell you about that half time. So, we're going to do one more story, then we'll try the Western Gold Scotch with honey. So, Fordell. Standing on the edge of a ravine, Fordell Castle is a 16th century Z-plan tower house, long a property of the Hendersons, and probably Bigfoot as well. A nearby mill, although the location may be at Fordell near Kinross, was said to be occupied by Cromwell's troops following the Battle of Inverkeithing in 1651, which is about 10 to 5. The soldiers interfered with the miller's wife and daughter, and the man poisoned them and then fled with his family. When the dead troops were discovered, the assistant miller was hanged for the crime, although he had nothing to do with the killings. On some nights, it is said that an apparition of his corpse can still be seen swinging and creaking from an old oak tree. Bum, bum, bow, incroyable, derp. Right. Beer at a bump time. What are we up to? 11 minutes. Yeah, I think it is bump time. So let's try this Western Gold honey scotch. I did have this honey whiskey, Beeble Original, British honey spirit drink made with whiskey. Didn't know what to make of that, so we may be repeating the same exercise here tonight. So it smells similar. So cheers, me beers. That is actually, I like that. That's nothing like that, Beeble. Oh my goodness me, that is, yeah, I can see me having that quite a bit. Delicious. Decided that the Arbracken, do love the Arbracken, but that's more of an autumnal scotch. So anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Forest Hills Hotel, Auchtermuchty, once known as the Boar's Head and formerly a coaching inn. The Forest Hills Hotel is located at The Cross in the old part of Auchtermuchty and was first established in 1738, which is about 20 to 6. It stands opposite the historic townhouse and toll booth with its tall, impressive tower and spire. The hotel is said to be haunted, and several apparitions have reportedly been seen, including a woman dressed in an old-fashioned way in the back bar, a uniformed man observed repeatedly in the kitchen, and once a dark-shadowed phantom in the function room. Other activity reputedly includes glasses being thrown from behind the bar, again in the function room, unexplained noises, and people feeling as if they have been touched. Address, hotel, telephone number. A paranormal investigation was undertaken by paranormaldiscovery.co.uk. So I must look these up, actually. I don't know how many of these are still current, because this book is, goodness me, first edition was 1999, reprinted 2000, second edition, which is this one, 2009. So we are looking at 17 years ago. And that's something I'm still trying to get my head around, is the fact that 2009, which still feels like the recent past to me, is 17 years ago. Oh, that's dreadful. That's terrifying, Derp. Anyway, cheers, me beers. Oh. Let's try some more of this Western Gold, shall we? Slange. Oh my goodness me, that's lovely. Only my friend Drew was up at the moment, because I think he'd appreciate that. Right, Forfar. Nothing remains of this ancient royal castle, which was apparently defended by the Loch. The castle was associated with Malcolm Canmore and Queen Margaret, and St. Margaret's Inch, now a promontory since the Loch was partly drained, is located. Again. I read that completely wrong. The castle was associated with Malcolm Canmore and Queen Margaret. And St. Margaret's Inch, now a promontory since the Loch was partly drained, is located in the Loch. The stronghold had a long history before it was abandoned in the 1330s, after having changed hands several times between the Scots and English during the Wars of Independence. The area around the Loch of Forfar is said to be haunted by the ghost of a girl who was murdered by being buried alive after apparently being unfaithful. There are also stories of a group of phantom men being seen in the water from the waist up, as if They are drowning. Site accessible at all reasonable times. Men being seen from the waist up as if they are drowning. But if they're being seen from the waist up, they're clearly not drowning. I don't get that one, Derp. I really don't understand that one. Yeah, I'm going to have a think about that. Oh, I know. I've suddenly realised, looking at the remnants here, the packaging for the 2 advent calendars, which I've kept up here because I am going to repurpose them. I'm going to fill them with new chocolate. I do have downstairs, which I treated myself to in Lidl the other day, a Ramadan advent calendar. Well, not an advent calendar, a Ramadan chocolate calendar. So I really should bring it up here and enjoy that. My friend Reg pulled a face when I said to him about it, but yeah, a Ramadan chocolate calendar. Good Lord, who would have thought it? I'm sure Ramadan is about, it's a bit like Lent. I'm sure it's about giving up stuff, but I don't know. I'm an ignoramus when it comes to religion. Let's move on, shall we, Dirk, before we get into trouble. So, cheers, me beers. Now I can think about is that Ramadan chocolate calendar. Slange. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, Lidl. Western Gold is quite quaffable. Right. Fort George. An outstanding example of a Georgian artillery fort, Fort William was built after the failure of the Jacobite Rising at the Battle of Culloden in 1746, which is about 5:45, and is named after the king. It was designed by the architect William Skinner, with work also from William and John Adam. By the time it was finished in 1769, it was not needed. The Duke of Cumberland had pacified the Highlands efficiently in a bloody campaign 20 years earlier. The building could house nearly 2,000 troops and covers 16 acres. The fort is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including by a ghostly piper and by a bogle known as Abernethy, which is said to have been witnessed in the fort jail and to be an unpleasant spook. The medical centre is reputed to be where a soldier hanged himself, and it is said that the creaking of a rope can be heard at times. Historic Scotland, open all year, daily, closed 25th and 26th of December and 1st and 2nd of January. Telephone number and website. What are we up to, Derp? 20 minutes. So we're not doing too badly. Slange. Oh, lovely. Goodness me, we have polished off this Western Gold tonight. Oh, that's very, very nice. Fortingall. The village is a picturesque place with thatched cottages, and this was a religious centre from the 6th century. In the old kirkyard is an ancient yew tree, believed to be more than 3,000 years old, and in the church is a bell said to have been used by Saint Adamnan, and there's a bell said to be used by Saint Adamnan, biographer of Saint Columba, as well as a 17th century font. Read that again. That's a shocking reading. The village is a picturesque place with thatched cottages, and this was a religious centre from the 6th century, full stop. In the old kirkyard is an ancient yew tree believed to be more than 3,000 years old, and in the church is a bell said to have been used by Saint Adamnan, biographer of Saint Columba, as well as a 7th century font. Fortingall is reputed to be the birthplace of Pontius Pilate, the son of a Roman emissary and a local girl. The village is reputedly haunted at times by a procession of phantom nuns. Access to churchyard at all reasonable times. So I'm just going to go back to that. So Saint Adamnan, biographer of Saint Columba, as well as Fortingall is reputed to be the birthplace of Pontius Pilate, the son of a Roman emissary and a local girl. So the Pontius Pilate of the Bible, the man who, according to the Bible, condemned Jesus to be crucified, was Scottish. Do you know what, Derp? I think we are going to have to photograph that at half-time, because that's an astonishing discovery. I'm just trying to kind of imagine that from my memories of reading the Bible, and I have read the Bible from cover to cover, is now all I can think of is Pontius Pilate talking to Jesus in a Scots accent. Bizarre. Anyway, what are we up to, Derp? 20. I'm just trying to see what the screen says here. 20. Is that 23 minutes or 28 minutes? Do you know what we're going to do? We are going to enlarge the screen. 23 minutes. Okay. We've still got a way to go. So, Slange you settled there? Good. Oh. Cheers. Just having a look to see if we had any fan mail. Oh, my goodness me. We have had fan mail. Viewer Alan says, great pick of pickle. I'll show you the pickle pick at halftime. Viewer Jackie says, cool. Talking about the Scotch here. Who's messaged me? Viewer Judith. Goodness me, viewer Jackie is back quickly. Live now doing ghost stories. Live now doing ghosts. Right. So let's get on to the next one, which is Fountain Hall, Aberdeen. Fountain Hall, an 18th century house, is said to be haunted. It was home to Dr. Patrick Copland, an eminent professor at Marischal College who died in 1822. Manifestations were reported, including the sounds of heavy footsteps and unexplained knockings, crashes, and banging. An explanation for the haunting is that one of the owners murdered his wife. She was said to be having an affair with a Scottish noble and hid her body there. Hid her body here. Read it again. An explanation for the haunting is that one of the owners murdered his wife. She was said to be having an affair with a Scottish noble and hid her body here. That's all we've got to say about that one. Oh, there was a story I was going to. There was one of the stories here that I was going to photograph and question to some of my friends, and I can't remember which one it was. What are we up to? 28 minutes, so we're not quite at half time yet, but cheers me beers. Ah, Slange. I do declare this Western Gold honey to be a massive success. Oh my goodness me. It's like I say, it's a shame my friend Drew isn't here, because he would be loving this. So the next time he's up, I might get a bottle of this in, because he does like his scotch. So 4 Mile Inn, Aberdeen. The 4 Mile Inn is said to be haunted. The ghost thought to be that of a former landlord who ran the establishment in the 1950s. There are reports of unexplained footsteps and noises coming from unoccupied areas, especially an upstairs room. When closing up, staff are said to have repeatedly heard the footsteps, even though the room, the beer burps at 28 minutes and 59 seconds. There we go. Goodness me, right. When closing up, staff are said to have repeatedly heard the footsteps, even though the room has been checked and locked. This has led the staff to recheck the room, only to return downstairs and for the footsteps then to begin again. Public house, telephone number. What are we up to? 28 minutes and 30. No, we've just gone through 29 minutes. I think we'll do one more, and then it'll be half time. So cheers me beers. In fact, we've got to the end of the blueprint beer. So, oh, delicious. Right, here we go. Fendraft Castle. Fendraft dates mostly from the 17th century and later, but may incorporate part of an old castle of the Crichtons. This was the scene of an infamous blaze in 1630, which is 4:30, when several people were burned alive. The Crichtons and the Gordon family had been feuding over land, which had led to not a little violence. Several of the Crichtons, however, were staying at Fendraft with their hosts, Sir James Crichton and his wife Elizabeth Gordon, when the building mysteriously caught fire. John Gordon, Lord Rothermay, and John Gordon, Viscount Aboyne, the son of the Marquis of Huntly, were burned and killed, as well as others of their kinsfolk and servants, some dozen or so people, although Sir James Crichton escaped with all his family. Indeed, it is said that Crichton did nothing to try and save his guests, and even that the Gordons had been locked in. Gordon's alive? No, they're all dead. Sir James was tried for their murders, and in April 1631, Sir James was tried for their murders in April 1631, and although he was acquitted, one of his servants, John Meldrum, was executed. Lord Rothermay certainly believed in Crichton's involvement. Lady Rothermay certainly believed in Crichton's involvement. she employed Highlanders to attack and plunder his lands and family. Lady Rothermay was eventually imprisoned in 1635, although she was later released. The castle is believed to be haunted by the ghost of Crichton's wife, Elizabeth Gordon, daughter of the Earl of Sutherland, who may have been involved in the torching of the castle. One story is that she disposed of the keys to the Gordons' chambers in the well, and in the 1840s, when the well was cleaned out, a set of keys were indeed found. Her ghost has reportedly been seen most often on the stairs in the 18th and 20th centuries, and her apparition has been described as a dark woman wearing a white dress edged with gold. Other activity reputedly includes the sound of arguing, footsteps coming down the stairs, and crashing sounds, as well as doors being locked and unlocked, opened or shut. Electrical equipment is also said to have been interfered with, and, despite being switched off at night, a television, video, and fan heater were found to be turned on the next morning. The castle passed to the Morrisons, who still occupy the building. What are we up to? We have gone through the half-hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to get up, Derp, or are you happy? So I'm trying to get the. That's what we're looking for. Facebook. Oops. I think you've had enough to drink, sir. Right. You are blocking the screen. Come on. It's a show about ghosts and drinking, Derp. It's not a show about a cat. So come on. Look, you got a bed there. Right, there we go. There we go. He's found his bed, thankfully. Right, so let's share screen, shall we? Today was 2 Reg Walk. I just want to see if yeah, that's all right. The stream is working. So today was a 2 Reg Walk. And we decided that as it was a sunny day, oh my goodness me, wasn't it a sunny day? We would do one of our favorites, which is uphill to Breen. So we started out from uphill. Unfortunately, the cafe at the Diamond Caravan Park at Breen wasn't open, but we soldiered on to Cafe 33, which is slightly farther down. But anyway, so it was absolutely beautiful today. Oh my goodness me. The sun was out. It felt like summer. It really did. So that was the start of the walk. There's Reg on the path as we are heading out of uphill out towards Breen. Absolutely fabulous, this. Obviously, because we're on the Somerset levels, there are loads of reens and drainage ditches, which is absolutely fabulous. Another one there. The ground here is actually, the fields are quite boggy, but that's to be expected. So yeah, this is why they dig the drainage reens. Then we stopped at Cafe 33. I only had cake and Reg had a prawn sandwich, but the prawn sandwich came with salad and it came with chips. So Reg said I could have the salad. Thank you, Reg. And we split the chips 50-50. So there's my bit of salad and my chips. Absolutely delicious. And then I had a big slab of chocolate cake, gooey chocolate cake, and a cup of tea. Oh, brilliant stuff. A pot of tea, rather. Absolutely fabulous. My shout this week, but next week it's going to be Reg's shout. So my choice of venue next week and Reg's opportunity to pay for the victuals. So, and there's Reg just regging it out on the on Cafe 33. I've got to say, after a couple of months, he's starting to fill out a bit more. He says that he's only put on a couple of pounds, but he's not looking quite as skeletal as he did at Christmas. So I'm keep my fingers crossed for him. So anyway, and there we go. That's typical of the landscape out there. I think that's the River Brue, and there's part of the caravan park there. But you're on the Somerset Levels. It is fabulosa, Mr. Horn. It really is. And that's a comma butterfly that we saw. This is a photograph with the iPhone, but I did get some better pictures with the Nikon. So a comma butterfly signage, which again, paths that we should try and do next time. And that's Reg climbing uphill towards uphill. So there's a reason why it's called uphill. Despite the fact that everything else we were walking today was on the levels, this on the way back, we decided to do the coastal part. So it does involve walking uphill. There we are. And in the background, you can see uphill. That's the church in the middle there. And to the right of Reg's ear is the windmill, which is a ruin these days. So there we are with uphill in the background. Reg looking very well there, got to be said. And that's us with Breen Down in the background, which I did threaten Reg with today. I said we are going to have to walk Breen Down at some stage. Do you know what? I haven't been back there since before my. The last time I was there was Christmas 2022, so I need to go back there. And there's a nice view of Uphill Church and the holiday village and the caravan park and the lake there. Breen Down, what a fabulous place. Again, I haven't been back there since the head soaring in 2023, so I need to go back there. I must go back there. And this is getting back towards Uphill, and this is the cafe there with some beautiful artwork. Oh my goodness me. I did say to Reg, do you fancy an ice cream? He went, no. So I thought, oh, that's a shame, because I could absolutely muller an ice cream at the moment. So there we go. And then we're back uphill again, and these are all the little streams and things. Absolutely brilliant there. It's got such a fabulous oldie worldy atmosphere. The two parts of kind of like Western that I like are Nightstone and Uphill. Everything in between, I just not that keen on. But yeah, there we go. So the grand total today was just over 5 miles. And you can see our little detour there in the middle. But oh my goodness me, what an epic walk that was. Did that? Yeah, it did come up. But that's not all, because I began the day. Let's just see if I can begin. I can begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive. I began the day at the allotment, my friend Laura's allotment, and I was digging in all this manure that I had spread across one of the patches the other day. So that's how we started the day off. And that's what it looked like at the end of the digging in session. So hopefully, excuse me, got the beer burps again. I do apologize. We are forecast rain for Friday. But do you know what? I'll take that, because the rain will wash all that back into the soil, and it will do the job for me. So that was absolutely fabulous today. So I'm looking forward to doing some more work on the allotment with Laura as and when she's free. And then the wildlife pics. Actually, I'm just going to have a look. Did we put up the wildlife pics from today? No, we haven't. But so this is today's wildlife pics from the walk out from Uphill to Bream. And this is an egret. Egrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. But yeah, here's an egret on the banks with the sun behind it. Absolutely fabulous birds. And that's the same bird taking flight. And there it is in flight again. I just love the way their necks kind of like, it's like toilet duck. They're absolutely fabulous birds. And there it is again. And it's also interesting the way its feet splay out at the back as well. But yeah, a little egret. Is it a little egret or is it an egret? I think it's an egret. And I'm just having a look. Did I upload the other bird pics? I don't think I did. So I think I will upload the rest of the bird pics. What did you do on Wednesday night? I watched a confused man from Dudley with holes in his head, banging on about his bloody bird pics. No, we do have more pics to share. Now I'll edit the caption when I get back, when we finish the show rather. So here we go. This is the wildlife pics. Bear with, folks. Here we go. So these are some of the wildlife pics from today. And that's a blue tit helping itself to whatever it can find in the flower seeds there. Not the world's best pic, but it captures the moment. Those are all widgeon on the River Brue. And in fact, there we are. There are some widgeon, brown heads with a white stripe in the middle. Fabulous birds, really do love them. Get a lot of them on the Severn Estuary, so they are pretty much resident here. But yeah, fabulous to see so many today. That's actually from my garden, and that's a coal tit checking out my fat balls, if you pardon the expression. And there is a coal tit looking at my nuts. So yeah, so we get great tits in the garden, blue tits and coal tits and long-tailed tits. So at some stage, I will dig out all the photographs and bore you senseless with stories of my tits. And that is a comma butterfly, which we saw sunning itself today. Absolutely fabulous. I think that's probably another shot of the comma butterfly. And here we go, more tits. So this was not the world's best picture because my autofocus likes to play up, but this is a long-tailed tit that we saw on the walk today. And there is another shot of a long-tailed tit. So all this foliage gets in the way, but it records the moment. So that's the important thing. And there's a blue tit as well. So that's what we kicked off with. So what a fabulous walk today. And I do want to say thank you to Reg. I mean, the fact that the pair of us are still here bothering this green and blue globe, green, blue and yellow globe sphere as it orbits the sun. The fact that me and him are still around is a testament to our NHS. So honest to goodness, folks, protect our NHS at all costs. And I can't find, what have I done with my beer opener, Derpy? I had a beer opener here. What have I done with it? What do you do on Wednesday night? I tuned in to watch Ghost Stories, but instead I watched a confused man from Dudley confusedly not be able to find his blessed beer opener. We're going to have to get up and go and get the other one from the other side. So bear with. Ah. Oh, I put the blessed beer opener down here. Anyway, we're on to the next section of tonight's show, which is the coffee stout from Aldi, which is absolutely brilliant stuff. So then we're going to have some coffee stout, and then we're going downstairs and we're going to have some supper, some late supper, and watch some Family Guy. So, oh, and we're also going to have some wasabi mix snacks as well, which courtesy of viewer Faye, who put me onto these from Lidl. So I don't know what I did with that other beer opener. Oh, we're definitely having some more snacks. Oh, got some more fan mails turned up. Right, let's get on with the ghost stories. The Aldi Coffee Stout is brewed in the UK in partnership with Hall and Woodhouse, the well-known 1980s pop duo. Rich, dark and indulgent with subtle coffee aromas, caramel and vanilla notes. Complex, yet perfectly smooth. 5.2%. Despite the fact that it describes itself as coffee flavour beer, does not contain coffee, which is just as well, because I have an intolerance to coffee. So 4 Mile Inn, Aberdeen. The 4 Mile Inn is said to be haunted. The ghost is thought to be that of a former landlord who ran the establishment in the 1950s. We've read that one. Good Lord. And we read that one as well. Goodness me, I am forgetting where I am now. Fulford Tower. There was an old mansion here which incorporated part of a 14th century castle called Fulford Tower. This was rebuilt and extended with materials from old wood Houseley. See separate entry. In the 16th century, 1660s, and then again in 1796. The house was then renamed Wood Houseley, but the entire building was completely demolished in 1965. Don't look at me, I was born in 67. The property was then held by the Purves family, or Purbs family. I think it's Purves. The property was held by the Purvis family, but the mansion was later home to Patrick Tyler, an eminent Scottish historian, and the place was visited by Sir Walter Scott. It is said that the mansion was haunted by the ghost of Lady Hamilton, apparently translated from Old Woodhouseley, along with the materials. Although this may be a mix-up over names, or it could be that Fulford had its own bogle. Yeah, again. It is said that the mansion was haunted by the ghost of Lady Hamilton, apparently translated from Old Woodhouseley, along with the materials. Although this may be a mix-up over names, or it could be that Fulford had its own bogle, and the two stories have been confused. Blah, blah, blah. Just, oh, goodness me. Fyvie Castle. This is a girt monster, this one. I think we're going to need some sustenance. I'm so glad I bought some more of this wasabi mix rice snacks. Ideal for sharing. Yeah, right. Cheers, my beers. Oh, that is delicious. Oh, delicious. Slange. Oh, Slange indeed, in the magnificent United Federation of Planet Shot Glass. So thank you again, viewers Kirsten and Steve in the United States. Cheers, me beers. Oh, Western Gold is lovely stuff. Right. Fyvie Castle. Set in the rolling countryside is Fyvie Castle, one of the most outstanding castles in Scotland. The building consists of a massive tower house with very long wings, and it is adorned with turrets, dormer windows, and carved finials, and Corby-stepped gables. The castle was formerly built around a courtyard, but the north and east sides were lost in the 18th century. When the castle was first being built, stones were removed from the church lands by demolishing a nearby chapel, but fell into a nearby river. The then laird refused Thomas the Rhymer shelter in the castle, and the Rhymer is said to have prophesied that unless the three stones were recovered, the castle and estate would never descend in direct line for more than 2 generations. Only 2 of the stones were found, and the prophecy is said to have come true. One of the stones is in the charter room, while another is reported to be built into the foundations, and they are said to weep, oozing with water when tragedy is about to strike the owners. Fyvie was destined to have a succession of owners and passed to the Prestons in 1402, then about 1433 to the Meldrums, then the Seton Earls of Dunfermline in 1596, then to the Gordon Earls of Aberdeen in 1733, which is 5:30, and finally to the Leith family in 1889, each of whom added to the castle. Fyvie was put onto the open market in 1982 and is now owned by the National Trust for Scotland. The castle is reputedly haunted by a green lady, the ghost of Lilias Drummond, wife of Alexander Seton, Earl of Dunfermline. She died on the 8th of May 1601, aged about 30, at Seton's house in Dalgetty in Fife. Lilias had 5 children, all of whom were daughters, and 4 of whom lived into adulthood. But her husband wanted a son and heir. One theory is that she was starved to death by her husband. One theory is that she was starved to death by her husband, or she may have died of a broken heart, or simply grew ill and died, possibly because of so many births in a relatively short time. As in many stories, details are confused. Whatever the truth of it, Seton married Griselle Leslie only 6 months after Lilias's death. In fact, he was contracted to Griselle only a few weeks later. What a card! On their wedding night, 27th of October, Seton and his new wife were staying in what is now known as the Drummond Room. They were plagued all night by sightings coming by they were plagued all night by sighing coming from the window, and in the morning found the following carved into the windowsill, some 50 foot from the ground: Dame Lilies Drummond. Although this seems far-fetched, the writing can be seen, and it is an unusual place for anyone to have their name carved, particularly as it faces outwards. Griselle did not have a happy time of things, as she did not deliver the son Seton wanted, and she died only 5 years later. Seton married for a 3rd time and finally produced a son, Charles, who went on to become the 2nd Earl of Dunfermline. The line lasted only another generation, and James, the 4th Earl, was forfeited in 1690 and died without heirs. Lilias's daughters, however, all married into the great families of Scotland. I think we'll have another bit. We haven't finished that story yet, but I think we will have some more of the coffee stout. Not only will we have some more of the coffee stout, but we will also record the fact that yet again, the 2nd time tonight, dead soldier.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Indeed. The appearance of Lilias's ghost is believed to be an ill omen for the resident family, and the ghost is recorded as being often spotted on the main turnpike stair from the 17th century onwards, sometimes disappearing into solid panelling. Oh, we've got the beer burps again, folks. The beer hiccups and the beer burps. We just pumped through the hour mark. I do apologise for the beer burps. Her appearance is said to have manifested itself as a fully formed apparition in a green brocade dress with a candle and pearls, but also as a fuzzy patch of light or a glow. Her presence is also said to be heralded by the smell of roses, an event which has been noted in recent times, including in 2008, when a guide felt someone pushed past him, although there was nothing there except the perfume. A guest also, read that again. Her presence is also said to be heralded by the smell of roses, an event which has been noted in recent times, including in 2008, when a guide felt someone push past him, although there was nothing there except the perfume. A guest also reported seeing the phantom of a woman in the Gordon bedroom. Just having a look to see if we've got any pictures to play catch on. We do, but we'll do them on the next show. In the 19th century, Colonel Cosmo Gordon recorded that he had been shaken out of bed by invisible hands. And on another night, a wind arose which blew off the covers from his own bed and his guests. I've had that curry too. Lilius is thought to have appeared before the death of Cosmo in 1879, and before that of Alexander Gordon a few years later. Gordon's not alive, he's dead. Lilius is also believed to haunt another former Seaton castle, Pinkie House. Also see that entry. In Musselburgh, although that identification is problematic, as she is said sometimes to be seen with the ghost of a boy. 5E Castle is also reported to have a grey lady or a white lady, believed to be the spirit of a lass starved to death here. The ghost was at its most active in the 1920s and 1930s. When workmen were renovating one of the chambers, the gun room in the castle, they found a secret chamber. When workmen were renovating one of the chambers, the gun room in the castle, they found a secret chamber behind a wall in which they uncovered the remains of a woman. When the skeleton was removed, disturbances increased until the bones were returned. When the skeleton was removed, disturbances increased until the bones were returned to the secret room, or so it is said. One account has a maid being woken from sleep to see an apparition of a lady in white. One account has a maid being woken from sleep to see an apparition of a lady in white, greenish, flowing dress gliding across her bedroom, turn to look sadly at her, and then disappear through a closed door. These ghosts, Green Lady and White Lady, may be one and the same, depending on the account. Some say the castle has a ghostly drummer, while others a trumpeter, the ghost of Andrew Lammy. He is said to have fallen in love with Agnes, daughter of a local miller, but her parents had him banished or abducted, an occurrence in which the Gordon Lairds were involved. His ghost is said to return and blow a trumpet when one of the Gordons is near death. National Trust for Scotland Castle open April to June and September to October, Saturday to Tuesday, closed Wednesday to Friday, July to August daily, grounds and garden open all year daily. Telephone number and website. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in November 2008 by East of Scotland Paranormal, featured in Living TV's Most Haunted, Series 6, 2005. 2005. Oh my goodness me, that still feels fairly recent. 21 years ago. Where does the time go, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to have some more wasabi mix as we finish off tonight's entertainment, he said charitably. Cheers, my beers. Gairn Shield Lodge. In a wild, picturesque location, Gairn Shield Lodge, an attractive house with Corby stepped gables, stands in 4 acres of grounds in the foothills of the Cairngorm Mountains. It was used by Queen Victoria as a hunting lodge and is now a comfortable family-run establishment available for exclusive use. The lodge is said to be haunted by the apparition of an old woman, reputedly the spirit of one of the former owners. The old military road, built because of the Jacobite risings, runs past the building and crosses the River Gairn over a tall, arched bridge. This was one of the main routes north from Braemar and Deeside across the mountains to Tomintoul. The sounds of feet, horses, carts, and marching men the sound of feet, horses, carts, and marching men have allegedly been heard here. The sounds of feet, horses, carts, and marching men have allegedly been heard here, even though there is nobody to be seen. Available for exclusive use for small private parties. Telephone number, website. Right, I think we are going to have to wrap this up for tonight, because what are we up to? It's 2118. The album Rush wish they had recorded. Uh-oh, Dead Soldier. No, we're not going to do that. I do love this wasabi mix from Lidl. In fact, I'm just having a quick look through my photographs here of wasabi mix. I don't think I showed you those photographs. No, I'm just going to take a photograph of it now. So I'm just trying to get this shadows. That's what we're looking for. Brightness. That's what we're looking for. I was just going to say that bloody Liverpool last night, losing to bloody Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are at the bottom of the Premier League. What is going on? We've dropped nearly 30 points this year from losing games or dropping points. Yeah, losing games literally in the last dying embers of extra time. Yeah, I mean, I know I shouldn't be greedy because we won the Premier League last year, but I would like to win it again. Right, anyway, cheers me beers. Sound. Let's wrap this up, shall we? Because I get hungry, so. Right. Where did we get to? Galdenok Castle. Galdenok Castle. Galdenok Castle. I think I'm winning another swig of beer. Let's try it again. Galdenok Castle, a ruinous tower house, was built by Gilbert Agnew, who was killed at the Battle of Pinkie in 1547, which is about 12 minutes to 4. The story goes that the son of the Laird of Galdenok was a Covenanter and, finding himself pursued by royalist forces, took refuge at a farm which was only inhabited by a farmer. The farmer became suspicious of the young Agnew and tried to prevent him from leaving. Perhaps fearing that he was to be turned over to the authorities, Agnew shot the farmer, killing him. Agnew returned to Galdenok and no suspicion fell on him. The attack, however, was not to go unpunished. From that time, Galdenok was haunted by the vengeful spirit of the farmer. Although no apparition was seen, all the manner of manifestations occurred. On one occasion, the ghost seized Agnew's grandmother and ducked her into a freezing stream, and on another threw blazing coals from the fire, which set fire to an outbuilding. The ghost scorned people who tried to rid the castle of its presence. The bogle was eventually exorcised by the mighty singing of a priest and a choir of local people. I think we'll get to the bottom of page 146 tonight, and then that'll be it. I think we're going to go downstairs and have some supper and watch some Family Guy. I've got some ganache to try out tonight. That's new for me, so cheers. Slange. Right. Galloway Arms Hotel, Crocketford. No, not that Galloway. At least I hope not. It's very litigious. The old coaching inn, which mostly dates from 1856, which is 4 minutes to 7, although there was an older establishment here, is a fine picturesque building in the village of Crocketford. The inn was visited by Robert Burns in 1793 and is a traditional welcoming hotel. The building is said by some to be haunted by the ghost of Elizabeth Buchan, who died in 1791. The Buchanites were an the Buckanites were an apocalyptic Christian sect and was centered around her. And she was believed to be a character referred to in the book of Revelation in the Bible. Goodness me, is she a member of the Trump administration? Because they've all gone batshit crazy over biblical references at the moment. Goodness me. They're attacking Iran, apparently, because there is biblical prophecy that said they should. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, she founded a religious house here after having visions and attracted a large following. Part of the premise of the sect was that they would be able to ascend to heaven without dying, but this failed to happen on the day ordained. Support for the Buckanites then withered, perhaps not unsurprisingly. Support for the Buckanites then withered, perhaps not surprisingly. Hotel, restaurant and bar, telephone number, website address. Last one for tonight, folks. Let's get the Galloways out the way. Cheers, me beers. Oh, how much? This is lovely, this Western Gold. Right, last one for tonight. Galloway Gazette, Newton Stewart. The premises of the Galloway Gazette in Victoria Lane are said to have been haunted by the ghost known as Harry. Is his surname Monk? Let's find out. Manifestations are reported to have included doors being found locked, open or closed without explanation. Yeah, again. Manifestations are the premises of the Galloway Gazette in Victoria Lane are said to have been haunted by a ghost known as Harry. Manifestations are reported to have included doors being found locked, open or closed without explanation, furniture moving by itself, lights turning on and off by themselves, interference with electrical equipment, mysterious heavy footsteps, disembodied voices, banging and rattling, and unusual smells. The staff also reported feeling a presence in the building. The story goes that the activity began when a gravestone with the story goes that the activity began when a gravestone with the name Harry Flynn was brought into the building after it had been found against the door to the cellar. Staff thought that the stone had fallen off a cart and, having gone missing, the stone would be claimed. But it never was, and long resided at the premises. Galloway Gazette, telephone number and website. That's it. Oh my goodness me. Cheers, me beers. Oh, that's lovely. Slange. Oh, that's lovelier. Do you know what? This Western Gold, that's a winner. I do like that. I don't think that's going to be the last bottle we buy of that. So anyway, that's it for tonight, folks. Oh my goodness me, you've had an hour and 20 minutes of nonsense. I mean, quality entertainment. So fingers crossed. We'll be back on Friday for, wait for it, Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra on a Friday. Until then, it behoves myself and Derp, who's asleep in his, well, he's not asleep, but he's lying in his bed here. It behoves us to say thank you for watching. Why? Why not? What else are you going to do on a beautiful early spring day on the 4th of March than watch a confused man from Dudley with holes in his head drink ghost stories and read alcohol. You can do better, folks. I can't. I'm locked into this. But anyway, so until the next time, as ever, thank you for watching. Why not? Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and please don't have nightmares. Good night.